Welcome to the story time.
Nobody knew that this weekend will be that of unforgettable, terrible moments. Now we will be focusing on Tim's family, whereby Tim was a father of 2 children, and he had a wife named Jane. For the last 10 years they have been living peacefully, like no dramas nor cheating one another, but all of this was about to vanish in a single weekend. Tim had planned that his wife will be spending 3 days on a beach vacation together with the children, so as he could have time alone to finish a certain project he had which was worth millions. And so, according to him, he wanted to be left home alone to avoid disturbance. His wife didn't question him since this wasn't the first time Tim to do so. And so in the next 3 hours Tim prepared his family for them to leave. This time he had promised them that he will be joining them on the second day, since the project wasn't that time consuming. And for that the children were very happy. And so one-on-one Tim escorted their family and shared his bye to them. In Tim's mind he thought that this was just a normal weekend like any others, but let me tell you, things were just starting.
That day at night, Tim's neighborhood was experiencing heavy rainstorms. But as you know, that didn't prevent Tim from working on his project. It was around 10 p.m. when Tim heard a knock from the door. At this hour, who is that? Tim asked himself. But with his good heart, he went downstairs to look who was at the door. To his surprise, he found out it was 2 girls who looked somehow they were 20s aged. According to the girls' explanations, they told him that they were heading on a certain party and that they were somehow lost on directions since they were new at the town. According to Tim, at the moment they sound true because when he looked at them they were wearing party clothes on them. So how can I be of help? Tim asked the girls. They requested him if they could come inside the house and try to charge their phone, since the phone was low battery, and later they could ask their party friends where the party was held. And Tim had no choice other than accepting, since he felt sympathy for them even on how they were wet due to heavy rain outside. I wish Tim knew that these girls will become nightmare to him and make his night a miserable one. At the moment, when Tim was charging their phones, he felt something was very weird with these girls. Because how comes of all the houses they decided to knock at Tim's house, making it worse, they timed when his wife and children are not around. It was like a coincidence. But he didn't pay much attention on the details. And so when he went to the sitting area where the girls were, they requested him if he could help them with some towels, so as they could dry themselves up togetherness with their clothes. Tim didn't refuse, and so one-on-one he helped them with towels. But all of this was like temptations to him, because remember, Tim is a man like any other man. And so to avoid it, Tim told the girls as they were waiting for their phones to recover, he can order an Uber for them through his phone, and they agreed. So the Uber was to be at their place for about 40 minutes to come. And as they were waiting for Uber, the girls started asking Tim some fishy questions, like, do you have a wife? How long have you been together? And the worst part was where they asked him if he can cheat on her. Tim felt very off with the conversation, and he automatically suspected the girls were up to something. And what will that be? To avoid the conversation with the girls, Tim asked them if they liked some music, and they sighed yes. But to be clear, what Tim didn't know is that these girls were up to something and they have been planning it for a very long time. Yes, in Tim's eyes he saw the girls were very innocent, and they even looked somehow teenagers, like underage. And I hope all of that was true at the moment. Because as the time went, Tim realized that the girls were like they are seducing him somehow. He tried to maintain a distance from them, but they kept pushing themselves on him. And now the trap was about to work. In a matter of minutes, Tim had already locked himself inside the bathroom together with the 2 girls. And for the first time in 10 years' history, Tim cheated on his wife. The next morning Tim didn't believe what he had just done. First thing, he called his wife and pretended that everything was okay and that he was fine. And without wasting of time, Tim took the girls and drove them their destination. This whole thing was awkward to him because everything happened too fast, and he couldn't figure out how. But to the girls all it seemed okay. But trust me when I tell you that things were just starting now. Tim thought that everything will be fine and that the girls are gone, and no one will ever know the truth.
Later at the night, Tim was visited by unexpected visitors. The same two girls, but at this time they were not dressed like girls, instead they looked like notorious terrorists. Believe me or not, the girls hold Kim as hostage on his house as they were robbing him. Tim didn't believe to see the girls he had sleep with then had turned to be thugs. And to make it worse, when they finished, they buried Tim alive on his backyard.